Hey Sasha, how are
Hey,
you?
good, good. How are you?
Very good. First of all, am I pronouncing it well, Sasha?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Probably every coach in the world would tell you a different story on that
Okay.
question. But for me personally, I couldn't wait, to be honest. I always had in my mind that I'm gonna become a coach. So the last couple of years of playing, I was already pretty much focusing on what's gonna happen next. So
Okay.
basically, I was really happy, and since I decided to go on my coaching path, I never looked back. There was only 2 or 3 times when I wished I was still playing because the game was really good. Uh, but otherwise, I just enjoy being on the bench. Look, when I was younger, like up to 25, I wasn't really thinking much about that because you just enjoy playing football. After that, more and more it became obvious that somehow you want to be in charge of the situation on the field. I was playing center back,
Mm-hmm.
and as a center back, you have to have everything under control because you're the last man standing in front of the keeper.
Yes.
So more and more, I was giving like the tactical decisions by the coach. I was his right hand. I was transforming the ideas on the pitch.
Were you the captain?
And yeah, more and more I got involved in like motivational talks too, because sometimes I was the captain, sometimes I was just the silent leader, and I felt like, all right, this feels right. Like I'm enjoying that stuff. I'm enjoying that part of myself in the team. So that's where probably the idea of being a coach was born, and since then I'm like, yeah, I want to do that. Well, I always coached before that. Even when I was playing, I was maybe taking some little kids,
Okay.
because I had time, and maybe the club asked me to do it. You have a lot of time, and if you feel free or you want to be more involved in the club, you can come because you have a license. And I never said no. So basically, I started coaching when I was 18. That was my
Wow.
first. That was my first touch with the kids and the coaching. Then up to 25, 26, I didn't really have time because I was playing professionally. And then slowly the transition came, and I took my first steps here in Slovenia. But then the real thing started when I was 30, and I moved to Australia. So that's where I moved only to be a coach, nothing
That's
else.
a long trip.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah, there is a big difference between coaching the kids and coaching the adults. Now, a lot of guys that I've met on my path, they were always saying, I feel more alive when I'm coaching kids.
Okay.
My goal, my ambition is to coach adults because I really want to be under the pressure. I want to deal with the situations. The result is important and all this stuff that comes with adults. But more and more I'm involved with adults. Now I understand what those guys were saying about, because teaching kids is the most, I don't know, the most enjoyable thing you can do, because the football is so pure, it's so genuine. You can really see the difference you're making on those human beings. When you become a coach of adults, it's more like play with their minds and being in control of stuff.
Yeah, maybe
You
more
never
like
know.
a work, like a job.
Yeah,
than
exactly.
Okay.
You can really see the feedback. When you're coaching adults, of course you can see the feedback, but not as much when you're coaching the kids, because the feedback is real. Sometimes the adults, they might be even faking, or they're really looking after themselves. It's contracts, it's money involved, it's playing time involved, it's the managers involved. There's games, there's mind games all the time. When you're coaching the kids, it's you, the ball, 2 goals, and the opposition, and that's it. You just have to love them, seriously.
And how about the teenagers?
Yeah, that's something in between. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's something in between. I mean,
if
there's
you,
different problems there, you know. They start thinking about stuff that can actually cost them their career.
yeah,
But because you went through, you can advise them, you can, you know, talk to them. And if they're the right ones, they're going to listen to you. If they're not, then sometimes you feel sorry for someone, but it's their career, it's their own life. So they have to make a decision. Look, I really wish I would have coaches that are coaching today when I was a kid, because we have a lot of knowledge today. So we
okay,
can transform that knowledge. When I start playing, it was not like that. They didn't tell you where to move, how to position yourself, and all this stuff. So you were basically left on your own.
of course, yes.
So today the kids can really, really get something out of it. Look what I found with teenagers, and if you really want to be successful, I mean, that's not the recipe because every situation is different. I'm just talking
Okay,
about my experience now.
of course.
I gave them more than just a coach. I wanted to be even their friend, so they can come and talk to me about the exams, about the problems with the girls, about all this kind of stuff. I even understood if they went out and they were on a party sometimes, but you have to twist that into your favor,
Okay,
because they need to feel sorry. They need to feel guilty about that. So you're not screaming at them. You just basically, sometimes you need to be angry. Sometimes you need to act disappointed. And sometimes you just say, yeah, I understand. There's no problem. But just today, make sure that you give your best. So I made myself available to them. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Don't get too close, because whenever you get too close, some of them, they will step the knife in your back.
okay,
And you don't want to be too close. You don't want them to feel too comfortable. But you need to be approachable. If they have a problem, you need to be that nice that they feel they can come and talk to you. You need to be a role model for them. They need to see something in you, you know? When you get to senior football, when you get to football where result matters, it's pure business. It's nothing else than business. First loss, second loss, third loss, even if you're good with them, they're gonna blame you. So you need to be a boss, still available, still approachable, but you need to be more of a boss. When it comes to teenagers, you can be more approachable than in the seniors. That's what I've learned from my
I think,
experience. Look, I think I was pretty lucky, because before I moved to Australia, I was around a lot before that. I used to play in Faroe Islands. I went there as a player. I ended up as a player coach, which, by the way, was still the hardest job I had to do. Then I went to Spain. Then I was on trials in Estonia, Lebanon, Malta. So I was moving around. You know, when you're a professional football player and when you're not really playing the top level, I'm not talking about the world-class football here.
okay,
It's just professional football. You need to earn money to make a living. That's it. And sometimes the contracts are not really great and they are not big. So you need to constantly move to look for new opportunities. So I was used to that part. But when I was playing, everything was pretty much organized in advance. So the club wanted me. I went there. I signed the contract. They put me in a hotel. And, you know, I had the season there. When I moved to Australia, it was different, because that's when I decided I've had enough. I won't play anymore. I just need to move somewhere where nobody knows me, and I need to make my life, my career in football from scratch. I want to prove myself that I can do something without anyone pushing me. Was it
on your own
hard?
path.
Yeah, of course it was hard, because I flew 20,000 kilometers away from home, and I didn't know how to actually start looking for the clubs. I didn't know how to get the visa. I didn't know anything. I was just, when I stepped out of the plane, I was like, all right, that's it. When I was sitting on the plane for 24 hours, I was still comfortable, you know. But as soon as I stepped out, I'm like, all right, that's a real deal right now. So what are you gonna do? So I just started to send my CV to different clubs. I found them, I Googled them, I went to a couple of interviews. To be honest, when I went to Australia, my plan was to get in football in about 3 to 5 years. And if I got in that period, I would be happy. The thing is that I got in a month.
Wow,
and I
that's
signed
amazing.
for South Melbourne. I started with under 10s because even though I had, at the time, I had UEFA A license, I was pretty highly qualified for the level of Australian football. They didn't want to give me big jobs because they didn't know me. They're just like, you're going to take kids and then we'll see how you go, yeah?
Yeah, you're like in a trial period.
Exactly. So I took under 10s, and it's pretty big club, historic club. I was lucky. I mean, lucky. I don't believe in luck, to be honest. I just believe in preparation. So I got in, and in 5 years' time, which I gave myself to go into football, I was a senior head coach in that club. So it's pretty amazing story, to be honest. It was easier, but it's not gave me everything needed to manage it. I had a little bit more experience, but Australia was different. Like I told you, nothing was organized there for me. I had to do everything on my own. So get an apartment, get a visa, sign up for, I don't know, college, because, the first year I was there on a student visa, get the job, get the friends, get around. So the first 2 years, yeah, it was hard. I mean, there was moments where, I'm going to be honest with you guys, I was in the middle of Melbourne and I was crying because I didn't know what to do, seriously. But, how do you manage it? If you love something, everything's possible. I mean, just the passion for the game. And, when I got the sniff that I got the club, I got in, I put my foot into the door. I'm like, I'm not going to give up now. No way. I mean, I want to do something about it, And yeah, 4 years later, in the media, I'm in all newspapers, and I'm thinking, wow, man, if someone would tell me that moment when I was really, really bad, that this is going to happen, just life is so unpredictable, man. You just got to take a chance. You're never going to feel sorry if you tried something, even if you failed. At least, it's out of your mind. But if you're never going to try, you're always going to be thinking about it. What if? Yeah. I don't want any what ifs in my life. I was playing, I was studying, because I have a bachelor degree in sports. So I'm basically a physical education teacher. And during that time when I was studying and playing, I took time to make licenses as well. So basically, I think I had a pro license when I was 28 years old. So it's a lot of work. You have to, you need to go away. You need to study. You need to. I had to write 2 diplomas, but like I said, when there's passion, you can do whatever you want. Look, this is a really interesting question. If you start talking about this in depth, you can talk about that for more than 2 or 3 hours. I'm just going to say it this way. When you're coaching the young ones, you want to produce footballers. You want to see somebody from the young ones to make it one day. Make it where? To professional football, yeah? In professional football, like we discussed before, it's all about the results. It's pressure, it's money, it's business, okay? So you need to prepare those little ones to get into the environment like that. So for me, in the young ones, it's not development versus the results. It's development and results. Never forget that. I mean, what is the young one that you're going to coach him for 10 years and you're always going to be saying to him, don't worry if you win or lose. It's all right. Don't take too hard on yourself, blah, 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 blah. And then at 18, he signs a contract and he plays 2 games. And in his head, it's don't worry. So he loses 2 games. The coach is going to kick him on the bench. He's never going to use him because this is not development anymore. And basically, he will be destroyed. Now, obviously, development is first. I always say, when you're coaching the young ones, the coach should not care about the result. It's not our business. Our business is to develop the young ones. But the kids, they should care about the results because it's their game. They need to know that they want to win. It's okay to win. I mean, come on. I was coaching in Australia, and one coach was like, it was like 90th minute, and it was under 12's game. I mean, it's not important. I don't care how it finished. But their goalkeeper gets the ball and he wants to dribble or something, play out from the back, whatever. We are in high pressing game. We take the ball and we score a goal. It's 2-1 for us and we win the game. Yeah, okay, I'm happy because the boys are happy. I mean, they're freaking out, you know. And the coach starts yelling at the keeper, listen, buddy, don't worry. It's all about the development. And I'm like, seriously, man? He's 12 years old. He doesn't even understand the word development, you know?
Of course.
Of course, you shouldn't scream at him because he did obviously nothing wrong, but you should tell him that maybe there is a different option. There is a different solution. You don't want to lose when you can actually win or draw. So maybe sometimes it's good to play long as well. I mean, you need to have the variety. Football, it's not to play one way. Nobody is playing one-way football. And I'm like, guys, you need to go out there and win. But do I really care about winning? No, of course not. I want them to enjoy. I want them to play the style of football, which I'm sure is going to help them develop individually. And then if they win, they're going to be happy. If they lose, I want to see them being sad because they have to deal with the loss. They have to know how to lose to know how to win. Look, the development is not only tactical development, is not only technical development, is psychological development too. And what do we say today when we are watching world-class football? Does this team has winning mentality or not? It's all about the winning mentality. So yeah, develop them to have the winning mentality. It's one of the things you have to develop. So telling them, don't worry about it, I don't think that's right. Yeah, you have to worry. You have to go out there and fight and win because if you lose, you're going to feel sad. What's wrong with that? But am I going to do everything in my power to forget about development just to win the game in under 12s? No, of course not. I don't care. You know, I'm not going to be kicking long balls just because I have a big striker up there because then my midfielders won't touch the ball. It's not about that. I want them to play the proper way, you know?
As a team.
Exactly. That's a big area. I mean, let's say I'm coaching seniors, yeah? When you're coaching seniors, you don't have the same philosophy all the time because it all depends on the club. It depends on your players, on the fans, on the board, on the expectations of the club. You have to adjust. What was working well in one club doesn't mean it's going to work well in the other club because it's different, you know? But every coach obviously has something in their DNA, and that little DNA, it's going to be seen in every team, obviously. Look, Jurgen Klopp, quick transitional football in Borussia and Liverpool. That's his DNA. And somehow that's the closest of the philosophy that, you know, I can talk about. I want my team to be aggressive. I want my team to be pressing high, a lot of running, a lot of desire, a lot of quick movement of the ball and quick transition football. So I hope I answered the question. I want them to play the way we train. So the way we train is the best way to develop them. I mean, in my opinion, obviously, if some other coach would come in, that can be debatable. But I'm doing everything in my power to coach and to play the way so they're gonna be developed technically, tactically, whatever, to get the best out of them, you know, individually. Balancing with the winning, it's pretty easy. Just prepare them to win. Like, we're gonna go there and we're gonna play this way. They're playing this way. This is how we're gonna exploit their bad sides. Fire them up, motivate them, act like you're coaching seniors. You can act like you're coaching seniors. You want to go there and win the game, and then even the young ones are gonna feel, yeah, we're going there to win the game. I think that's how you raise winning mentality. But that doesn't mean that if I'm gonna be playing a team that I don't know, they have small defenders. I'm gonna put my big striker in and I'm just gonna kick long because I want to win. No, this is not what I'm talking about. I'm still gonna play the way I want to play to develop them, but I'm gonna make sure that whenever they are on the park, they need to know that they have to win. They need to know, not me. I've did my job during the week on the trainings. Now the job that they have on the weekend when they play a game is you go there to win the game. That's why we're playing. That's why we are competing, you know? And of course, development is more than winning for a coach. But for them, it needs to be everything, you know? Look, every game is different. Maybe sometimes you have someone that just had a fight with his dad in the car, you know, and he's not really in the game, and then you take him out. Maybe sometimes you have some different problem. It's really hard to talk in general because you need to see the specific game. But basically is really getting into their head. You're not going to make them better in half an hour. They're not going to be better players in half an hour, technically and tactically. It's impossible. Yeah? But just to get in the heads and basically show them that you are the most passionate ones, that you have that desire for them to do good. When they see that, you're their role model. You need to know that every kid you're coaching, their coach is their role model. If they see you being focused and passionate and enthusiastic, trust me, your team, your kids are going to be the same. Like I said before, with kids, it's easier to get into their head, you know, because sometimes you act disappointed. Like, look, guys, today I feel you're not at your best. I know you can do better, you know. Or maybe sometimes you get angry and you raise your voice a little bit. Yeah. Don't forget, these are kids, yeah? But you raise the voice a little bit, so just they see, wow, this guy is not joking. He really wants to go out there and win, you know? So they start the second half and they're flying. They're literally flying. And you can turn the game around. So you did your job, that's it. But you still played the way that it's good for all of them as a team, you know? And then when the team is working, trust me, every individual is getting something out of it. Yeah, with olders, it's a lot of it has a lot to do with tactics and maybe substitutions and even getting into their head, but sometimes the words are a bit harsher and maybe sometimes they just need the confidence, you know, maybe they lack the confidence. And instead of, I mean, I've tried everything, man. I even came in when we had the worst first half and everybody was expecting me to yell, and I just sat down and I said, you're not letting me disappointed, you know, you're disappointing yourselves because I believe in you and I know how good you are, and this is not you. If you want to win that game, you need to be you and you're the best. And, you know, you just give them a little bit of confidence, you know, and maybe you're going to turn it around, maybe not. I mean, all you can do as a coach is try. Once they're on the park, it's the team playing, it's not you playing. Yeah, I have one really good story. When I was playing in Slovenia, I told you I was a center back, and we had a coach from Serbia. He was a big player. He used to play in first division in France. He was a superstar, you know. But to be honest, as a coach, he was a terrible coach. I mean, Jesus. All I had to do as a center back is kick long. He didn't even want me to stop the ball, or he was shouting at me all the time, just long. Obviously, it was all about the result. Yeah, I can get that, but there was no
like a
knowledge there in depth or the idea of how to play football. Anyway, so I finished my contract and I moved to Spain. So I'm playing for a Spanish team now, and there is the first training session. I have no idea how to speak Spanish. I didn't know one word. And we are playing a friendly match against our reserve team, so under 23s. First minute of the game, I get the ball back. I'm a center back and I'm under the pressure, you know, because in Spain, they're crazy about pressing. So as soon, the first second I'm receiving the ball, there's already two kids running at me. And I'm thinking, wow, I have no options. So, you know, as usual, I kick it long. And the coach stops the game and he jumps in and he starts yelling at me in Spanish, and I didn't understand the word. And I'm like, man, relax. I mean, I'm under the pressure. If I lose the ball, they're going to go one-on-one with the keeper. And he looks at me and he goes, the first word he speaks in English is, I don't care, go and dribble. And I'm like,
Wow.
what? I was shocked. I'm like, wow, this is going to be a massive difference for me, man. I was just used to kick long, you know? Anyway, 3 months later, and I'm playing a center back like I'm a midfielder, you know? I had to adjust. Otherwise, forget about it, you know?
Yeah.
So when it comes to Spain, maybe not now anymore, still one of the best ones in the world. But when I was there, that was after 2010, definitely the best country in football in the world.
Yes.
So
Oh,
the
they
level
won
of football, I mean,
yeah.
you can imagine, was crazy, man. Everybody was crazy about the golden generation and Barcelona and playing and pressing and, you know, passing the ball. Exactly. So when I moved to Australia, obviously the level just dropped a lot. But not in terms of the way they want to play, because they were imitating that Spanish way a lot. They wanted to do that, but still, then you get into senior football in Australia, and you have old school English coaches, and all you see is kick long, and there's a massive big striker up front, and that's pretty much it. So I'm thinking, wow. I mean, you're teaching the kids one way, and then before they get to the seniors, there's going to be a 70-year-old bloke who's going to saying, guys, just don't worry about playing. Just kick it long, you know? So Australia is far behind, in my opinion. But look, they're investing a lot. They're trying to do the right thing. So we'll see. Yeah, that story that I just told you about Spain, that was the biggest eye-opener for me, because I was used to only play one way of football, you know? And in the 90s and the early 2000s, when I was still playing, or early 2000, maybe up to 2010, we were close. We live close to Italy. We are on Italian border, you know, and Italy has changed a lot in the last couple of years too. But you know that Italians were always known about, you know, playing deep, playing defensive, playing, you know, all that stuff. It's not like that anymore. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's a lot of teams trying to play good football. But I'm just saying the influence that had it on me and the teams where I used to play was that. So how would I know any different when I started to coach if I only saw that? But then, thanks God, I went to Spain and I saw the way they played, and it was nothing like that. I mean, it was all about high pressure and running after the ball and quick reactions, and it was all different for me. I mean, I used to have ball as a center back at my feet in Slovenia for 10, 15 seconds maybe, because nobody was pressing me. I get to Spain and I have 2 seconds, and it's like, all right, this is a bit difficult for me right now, you know, because it's different. I mean, I need to think faster. I actually need to think in advance, you know. I don't have time to stop, look, and then make a decision. So right now as a coach, I know what it means when somebody is pressing high, and if the pressing is good tactically into the perfection, even the best technical teams in the world are going to have problems, because if not the first player or the second player, maybe the third or the fourth is going to make a mistake, because you have 1 to 2 seconds on the ball. So yeah, I think it was an advantage for me to try this kind of stuff. When somebody asks me, well, how are you different to somebody here in Slovenia? Because, you know, I'm looking for a new job. And I say, I don't know him. I don't know the way he works. I have no idea. But I'm sure that in terms of trying and seeing and experience different cultures, that's for sure getting into my advantage. So that depends. That all depends on the club. But mostly everyone has a technical director. And the technical director is like head of the academy. And when you go there, basically he's the one that is setting up the philosophy, and we want to play this way. And like I said, you know, they're trying to imitate the Spanish way of playing, the possession, you know, the effective possession. They got educated a lot, but what I saw there is honestly, the higher you go, the people you talk to that did something in football, they actually tried something in football, they played high level or coached high level, more humble they are, more they understand that they don't know a lot about football, you know. Lesser that the man tried in football and he just got the license now, never played, and he just read 2 books. It's harder to deal with those people because I know everything and they become arrogant, and this is the only way you have to play. It's not the only way you have to play. There's a lot of ways you have to play. So it all depends on the technical director. I mean, look, for instance, I was one too. So yeah, of course, we had 5 points, 5 principles that we said is going to be our DNA as a club. The rest, how you're going to have your sub-principle and stuff like that, it depends on the players you have. Because I can't tell you to play the same way as Barcelona because you're not Barcelona. You don't have Messi and Xavi, yeah? And you don't have Iniesta. So how are you going to play the same way as Barcelona? Just play the way you think with those players is the best. But obviously there's 2, 3, or 5 or 1 point that the whole school needs to follow, and this is going to be our philosophy. So this is something that I want you to do in your teams. It's really hard because I told you before, the head coach is usually an older guy that doesn't even want to have a look at the young ones, you know, and he wants to kick long and he doesn't care if we play good football. This is the problem in Australia. But look, just to compare, I was in 2013, I was in Glasgow, and I had the access to Celtic Football Academy. I was basically 10 days, I lived and worked with them.
Okay.
And Mr. Chris McCart was at that time was the head of Youth Academy, and he said to me, you know what, we don't follow what the senior team does because we don't care. This is different world, you know. We are a lot under the pressure because the board members invested millions and millions of pounds to produce players, and it's up to us to produce them the way we want them to play. And then it's up to Neil Lennon, who was the head coach at the time, if he's going to pick them or not. If he picks them, then they did their job. But how they're gonna play in the seniors, it's not their problem anymore, you know. Now, Neil Lennon took the responsibility of signing the contract with someone who is in his team now. So it was, for me, it was an eye-opener because I always thought like, okay, all the young ones are going to play the same way as the seniors. But the problem with the seniors is that you're a coach, you lose 3 games, you get sacked. There's a new coach coming in, and he changes the whole philosophy and the mentality.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do now, you know? So what they said is, you know what? No, we're not going to depend on that. We're going to have our thing going on, yeah? We don't care about the results. We care about the development. But they were winning everything, yeah? But this is the way we want to do it. And then, hopefully, pray to God, he will sign 1 player every year, you know? This is how it works. I would say the result is not important for the coach and the parents. It should not be important. But it should be important for the kids. They need to go out there and feel the competition. They need to go out there and have the winning mentality of beating the other teams. They need to go out there and lose and feel disappointed when they lose, because that's where the real fire starts in you. You know, I lost the game, the next one, I need to be better. This is how you develop a young player, you know. Do I care in under 12s if I win the game? Of course not. I don't get paid for winning the games, yeah, but the kids should care. When you get to the seniors, obviously, it is all about the result, because the football world is crazy, yeah? Because you lose 3 games and you're gone. So what are you going to do? You're going to keep your job and just play on the result? Or maybe you have a board member or a president who's going to say, look, man, I understand you play a certain way of football. We have young players here. We want to develop them even more. And I'm going to give you time. Okay, that's where you start thinking a little bit different, yeah? Not really. Just for all the young coaches out there, I just want to say one thing, because I've been talking a lot with the young players and coaches, and just don't let one failure, don't let one bad result, don't let one bad experience kill you, because if it's gonna feel bad, if you're gonna try to give up, then you're not made for this. Okay, there's gonna be bad results, trust me. There's gonna be failures, trust me. I won the championship and I got relegated. When I got relegated, I was so devastated that I wanted to quit. Seriously, it was too much for me. I wanted to quit for 2 days. The third day, I'm already up and running, and I'm like, it's not just my fault, you know. I mean, come on, man. You need to keep moving. You need to go on. You need to just remember, every failure is a step or a stair to get something bigger, to maybe get a success. I think just a couple of days ago, I was watching autobiography of one woman, a soccer coach in United States.
Okay.
She's I forgot her name, but she's the best coach they had. She won 2 World Cups. Jill Ellis, thank you. Yes, well done. Yeah, and she said climbing on top of the mountain might look hard, but staying on top of the mountain is almost impossible, you know, because once you get up there, everyone's going to go down there. No one stays on top of the mountain, you know. So what do? I mean, you just need to constantly keep reminding that the loss can come. And when it comes, it's all right. Don't feel like you're unbeatable. I mean, it's good, but you need to be humble. And I think that arrogancy is the one thing that is killing everything. And if I see somebody on a winning streak of 5 games that comes on a training and already thinks that he's won the championship, this guy, in the first minute, he's going off my training ground, because this is not the attitude I'm gonna tolerate. No way. Because when you won 5 games, you just have more responsibility now of winning more. And if you think you already done something, then you're not the right guy for that team. And that's how you send the message to everyone else, you know, like, wow, this guy means business, you know, he's serious about it. So you just need to keep them humble. You just need to don't let them get flying in their head. There's no notebook, there's no recipe of what you need to say and how you need to act and how you need to coach, because every situation is different. And trust me, you as coaches, you're going to be making mistakes. I made a mistake. I was going for a championship with one team, and we are playing a home game, quick story, and the score at the halftime is 0-0. And I thought it's going to be an easy game for us, you know. So when I walked into the changing room at the halftime, I'm like, I freaked out. I mean, I got really upset. I got really angry. That angry that I actually smashed the whiteboard, you know. I broke the whiteboard because I was yelling at them, because I'm like, you're better than this. Come on, eh? We go out and we lose the game 2-0. So did I help them? I didn't, because the mentality was worse than it's supposed to be, you know. So I actually killed them. So I took the blame next day on the training, and I apologized, and I said, I didn't really help you. All I wanted to do is to get angry to help you. So you're going to be making mistakes, but sometimes your reaction is going to be the right one, and sometimes you're going to make a mistake, but just confess the mistake and quickly move on. Don't think about it, because you're a human being. You're going to be making mistakes. No problem. Guys, if you want to do this again, I'm up for it. Like I said, I'm unemployed at the moment, so I have a lot of time. And, you know, I love to talk about my experience, because if I can help someone with it, it gives me something special, trust me. So I'm available whenever you want to talk, even privately. If I'm going to have time, trust me, I'm going to be answering to you.